Bajaj Auto posted a revenue growth of 6% year-on-year in Q1 FY26 at 12,584 crore rupees. The company's exports, premium motorcycle sales, CVs and Chetak delivered double-digit growth. The company delivered an EBITDA of rupees 2,500 crore and profit after tax of 2,100 crore. Bajaj Auto and TVS Motor Company have been leading electric two-wheeler sales, followed by Ola Electric. But the big issue and hurdle for the EV industry has been the rare earth magnet crisis, and now the industry will also have to face tariff uncertainty. There are US-India trade tensions, but that also has a ripple effect on tensions all around the world. Joining us now to discuss Bajaj Auto's trajectory here on in this uncertain environment is Rajiv Bajaj, the Managing Director of Bajaj Auto. Mr. Bajaj, thank you very much for joining us. Let me begin by asking you first about the US tariffs. An additional penalty of 25% coming in 21 days. If we don't have a solution, the tariffs would be 50%. How bad is this for the Indian industry overall?
Hi, Parikshit. Well, I don't know about the industry because every company's situation is specific to itself. For Bajaj, I can tell you in a word that we are quite unconcerned, and I'll tell you why. Our exports to the US are basically in two brands, KTM, that's about 10,000 vehicles a year, and Triumph, which is about 5,000 vehicles a year. So, firstly, it's 15,000 vehicles a year in a volume of about 5 million vehicles. So that's less than 0.5% as far as volume is concerned. Nevertheless, it's an important market. It's a very profitable market. So it's not a business we would like to lose. And I don't think we are going to lose this business, and I'll tell you why. In any case, from around this time, from August, September onwards, exports to such markets, including the US, do dip because goods will only reach there, by November or so, by which time the winter sets in. And demand, turns down significantly. So, in any case, the next 3-4 months are the weakest months as far as exports to such advanced markets are concerned, which means we have time to rejig the supply chain until almost December or January, when we will start again exports for the spring and summer season, and therefore. We have many options, whether we continue exporting from India because there is a rethought on the tariff, or whether we go via facilities that are in Europe or in Asia, such as Thailand, or somewhere in LATAM. There are many possibilities. So frankly, we are not impacted significantly, and we are not concerned.
Right. I would also like to ask you about how the global tariff situation is impacting your exports, and do you expect a hit in FY26 because of the sentiments and the uncertainty globally?
Not really, Parikshit. I mean, in a word again, or in two, I would say I don't see any impact. That post-COVID, once our export markets started recovering, particularly in Africa and LATAM, exports came back to a level of about 140,000 a month compared to about 200,000 a month pre-COVID. And as you may have seen, in recent months, they have come now nicely to a level of 180,000 a month with an all-round secular recovery, and particularly so in LATAM, which we are very happy about because, again, with Pulsars and Dominars, it's a very rewarding market for us. Really, the single sore point that remains is Nigeria, that used to average 50,000 motorcycles a month and is still hovering around 15,000-20,000. So with the exception of Nigeria, for motorcycles and some markets like Egypt for three-wheelers, where three-wheelers are now currently banned, really our export markets have come back strongly, and I'm actually quite hopeful that if this trend continues, it may not be long before we are back to that level of 200,000 a month.
Right. Just to speak about the rare earth magnet crisis, in April this year, you had said India's EV industry could come to a grinding halt due to the rare earth magnet restrictions by China. What would be your outlook now, as China has not lifted the restrictions for India still?
Well, that is still a very, very uncertain situation. I must say this, every day is a new day. Again, it's a very company-specific situation, Parikshit. For us, as you are aware, that in the first quarter of this calendar year, the Chetak became the market leader in the electric scooter segment. And in the recent Q1 of this financial year, our electric three-wheeler, the GoGo, became the market leader in that segment. So what I'm trying to say here is that our volumes are quite high. You know, we would like to do typically 30,000 Chetak a month and in excess of 10,000 electric three-wheeler a month. So for a high volume player, there is a big impact because we don't carry the kind of inventory in number of weeks or months that a low volume player would. And therefore, the immediate solution that seems to be working for us now is to get low rare earth or LRE, as it is called, magnets from China. That has started up. The next step would be to try and source LRE from elsewhere, because what if China bans LRE tomorrow? Then you're back to square one. So where else in the world can we source these from? And finally, I think all of us are working towards ferrite magnets or solutions that have no rare earth at all. So I think that is the roadmap ahead of us.
Right. What has been the cost implication of this to get low rare earth magnets? Have you had to do re-engineering?
Yes, of course. You have to incorporate certain changes in fundamentally your motor design to be able to operate at temperatures that are conducive to maintain performance, to maintain reliability with low rare earth. So fortunately, the R&D has really been working through the day and night on this for the last several weeks. And they have solutions in place for both the Chetak and the GoGo. And therefore, even as we speak, we are producing now with low rare earth magnets.
Right. Now, to what extent is the rare earth magnet crisis impacting your deliveries? In Q1 of FY26, what was the impact in percentage terms? And what is the kind of impact you expect in Q2?
As things stand today, I must again say this is a very uncertain situation, and tomorrow I could have a different answer. As things stand today, first of all, in Q1, we had almost no impact because the inventory that we were carrying between ourselves and our suppliers has seen us through in Q1 largely. And for the whole year, also, I think we will not have impact. Now, more specifically in July, as you know, with the Chetak, we were at about 50%. With the three-wheeler, we made it to about 90%. I think we made 8,000 of the GoGo electric three-wheeler. I had said a couple of weeks back that I see us staring at a zero production month in August as far as electric vehicles are concerned. But I'm happy to say that, as I just mentioned, things have changed a lot in the last 2 weeks with the availability of LRE. We are now looking at least a 50% availability as far as the Chetak is concerned in this month, in August, and perhaps about 70% as far as the GoGo is concerned. Things stand today. For the month of September, actually, we should post our highest numbers ever, again, as things stand today. But we will still fall short of demand only because, demand is really high next month, anticipated to be very high because of the festive season. So today, if I have to hazard a guess, I would say something like 40,000 electric scooters, that is the Chetak, and well over 10,000 of the GoGo electric three-wheeler in September is not out of the question if the LRE magnet supply continues as it is continuing today.
Right. So if we were to ask you about the full fiscal, would you trim the production outlook, or you would say you will remain on track despite the crisis?
Neither of those two. I will actually say that we think we can now do better than we had even planned for the whole year, because by October, production should completely normalize. We should have made up for what we will lose, what we have lost in July and what we will lose in August. And in fact, the reception is so good. As I said, both these brands are market leaders in their segments. So in fact, I think we will hope to make and sell more in the second half of this financial year than we had anticipated at the beginning of the year.
Right. So if I could ask you, sir, what is the kind of overall numbers that you're looking at for the full fiscal in terms of production and the growth over FY25?
That's hard to say, Parikshit, because again, it's very, very uncertain. So it can get a little hypothetical. But I will tell you this, that in terms of capacity, we pushed it up to 40,000 for the Chetak. And in anticipation of future launches, we are moving it up to 60,000 in the next few months. And for the three-wheelers, I think I would be right in saying we are pushing capacity to 15,000 a month. We'd like to go even higher because although we are market leader, we are still a shade under 40% share. With the ICE three-wheeler, as you know, we have close to 80% share. And that's certainly our goal that, why shouldn't we have 80% share in the electric three-wheeler segment as well?
Right. In terms of more launches, what about the EV electric scooter plans? Are we going to see more variants of the Chetak at different price points, electric motorcycles, other EV products?
A bit of everything, actually. So as far as the scooter segment is concerned, as you know, we exited the ICE segment nearly 20 years back. So this is a segment in which we had to, we had a fresh start. So we started with the new avatar of Chetak as the electric. I think to answer your question, various SKUs of this platform at various price points, that's been done, I think, quite effectively, which is why we acquired leadership. Of course, more of the same will continue to happen, but we need to launch a new platform, which quite frankly, we would have launched in this quarter. We have deferred that now to Q3, possibly even Q4, as in January. It all depends on the availability of magnets because, as long as there is some constraint, we want to keep making more of what is obviously currently selling. Before we introduce a new product and make life even more difficult for ourselves in terms of additional demand. As far as three-wheelers are concerned, unlike with the scooter, this is where, as I said, we are 80% ICE share. We are the market leader. We are leveraging that leadership, or we have leveraged that leadership with the GoGo. And I think we are going to take it further. I anticipate you asking me a question on our e-rickshaw foray. And again, we are starting production as we speak. I believe we will go to market in the first 4 markets on 10th of August under the brand Riki, R-I-K-I. So that's going to be our brand for the e-rickshaw segment. And as we have done with the GoGo, we'll build it up slowly. We will wait a quarter or 2 before we scale it up because again, we need to get the product absolutely right. We are still, making our way up the learning curve. In all respects of technology, product, and customer service, as far as electric technology is concerned. So the scale up will be gradual, but we are going to be in the market from this month. As far as motorcycles are concerned, this is not something that we have talked about so far, but I'm happy to share a first information on this, that this is a segment where, it's a bit between the Chetak and the three-wheeler. It's not that we are not in the ICE motorcycle, but we are not exactly the market leader or overwhelmingly the market leader. So what we are going to do here is, I think we are going to work with 2 of our strongest brands, the Boxer in export markets and the Pulsar, the world over, quite frankly, is a very, very strong brand. We are going to work with these 2 brands and hopefully in the near future, we'll have something on that front, i.e. on the electric motorcycle as well.
All right. So you're saying you're working with the Boxer brand that is available in African markets and the Pulsar to develop an electric prototype. Is that what you're saying, sir?
To develop 2 electric motorcycle platforms, one each in the Boxer brand and the Pulsar brand, as a commuter and a sports motorcycle.
Bajaj Auto is infusing 7,200 crore rupees in reviving the KTM brand. This is one of the biggest investments that Bajaj Auto has made in many years. Why do you think this is so important for the group's future?
Well, fundamentally, Parikshit, while it may appear that a motorcycle is a motorcycle, there are 2 worlds of motorcycles out there. There is one world of the volume brands, such as Honda, Yamaha, Enfield, TVS, Bajaj, etc. And this is roughly a industry size of 50 million vehicles. Of course, mopeds, scooters, step-through, motorcycles, all put together. This is, let's say, the mass or the volume space. And then there is the more premium or lifestyle space. uh, that's more dominated, I would say, by brands, Western brands, such as, let's say, KTM, Triumph, Ducati, BMW, Harley. These are the better known ones. And this is a annual industry size of a little under 1 million a year. So it's 50 million here, it's 1 million there. And quite frankly, these are very different businesses, different business models, obviously, because the scale is very different. The whole the levers of brand, technology, quality, cost, distribution work very differently in these two spaces. And we have always been of the belief the last 20 years that while the Bajaj brand is very appropriate, very competitive in the first world of 50 million vehicles, where we have a lot of headroom to grow because we are under 5 million in a industry size of 50 million worldwide. But however, I think we have the humility to understand that our brand is not going to carry over effectively in terms of pricing power, let's say, in the second world of the premium or the lifestyle products. And that's where the association with KTM and Triumph is really invaluable for us. And that's fundamentally the reason why it was necessary for Bajaj to step in when it became necessary because of this crisis that came upon KTM to keep this brand going, to keep this operation going, because even for us from a business point of view, it's a significant revenue and a significant contribution to our bottom line.
Right. That's an important statement, I'm sure, that investors would also be wanting to hear. Now that you've decided to invest so much money in the KTM brand, how would you like to now scale it up, considering that Bajaj Auto is now fully in the driver's seat with KTM?
Quite frankly, scale is not the most important thing for KTM, I think. I think, in this world of motorcycles, as I mentioned, the industry size is about 800,000 a year. Market shares don't move by much. The qualitative metrics are more important here. And I think, we've obviously been grappling with this issue for the last 6 months. We've had some very good meetings with our counterparts at KTM. Almost the entire senior management team was here last week for 2 days. And I can tell you that the roadmap ahead rests fundamentally on these two thoughts. First, we have to restore the brand. As unfortunately happens sometimes with success, you tend to diffuse the brand by extending it into too many categories, too many segments, even beyond the core segment. And the second thing that then leads to, the brand diffusion leads to, is this proliferation of SKUs that makes the business very complex, right from R&D to the dealer workshop. So we have to first, in my opinion, we have to restore the brand to the core. And from that will follow a great simplification of the operations, which will have a very salutary effect on the company. The second thing we have to do is to reset the cost. To put it very simply and bluntly, European manufacturing is dead. I think the auto industry, including the car industry, understands that. Now, they would have the political, social, and other compulsions why they cannot move everything out of Europe to somewhere in Asia to produce more competitively. But let me give you an example of Triumph. Mr. Blower moved 100% of Triumph production to Thailand over 15 years ago. Every single Triumph motorcycle that is made today is made either in Thailand and, of course, more recently in India. If Triumph can do this 15 years back, in principle, why not KTM? And I have never, or we have never shared this specifically before, but let me tell you that while KTM struggles in Europe, uh, the KTMs that we make and export out of India to different parts of the world bring us a EBITDA margin of over 30%. And the main reason for that is the great cost competitiveness that India and the Indian supply chain and our excellent suppliers offer. So we have to reset the cost of KTM. We have to restore the brand. And if we are able to do this effectively, then I think KTM has a very bright future.
Right. That's an important point. What does this also mean in terms of revival of KTM exports?
Uh, KTM exports, well, before this disruption, you would know that our exports of KTM motorcycles worldwide were of the order of about 15 to 20,000 a month. As I said, very profitable. If I'm not in the Jan-Feb March quarter, this fell to zero, so it reduced progressively as they found themselves in trouble from the middle of last year. And in the first quarter of this calendar year, I think we exported nothing. In Q1, if I'm not wrong, we are back to 14,000 or so. So I would say the lower end of the normal. And I'm quite hopeful that as we move forward, for two reasons, we should do even better. One, because KTM is, step by step, every week getting stronger, which means dealers, distributors, etc. Things are normalizing. And secondly, perhaps you are aware that in terms of the new Duke, the new Adventure, the new Enduro, and Supermoto, we've just started up with several new products. So I think that will bring us additional business as well. So I think the short story is that KTM exports may well hit a new high, of course, subject to the Trump tariffs.
Subject to the Trump's tariffs. I would also like to ask you about the possibility of launching a twin-cylinder bike. I think you had teased this in an interview to us a few years ago. Mr. Bajaj, what's the status of that?
No, you are right. I mentioned it to you. In our industry, there is no maxim, no principle that is more true than this, that there is no replacement for displacement. So yes, we are working on such a motorcycle characterized by being bigger in displacement, by being a twin, and really having a lot of new technology, a lot of cutting edge stuff on it. Still work in process. I think still about a year or so away. It takes time, but certainly we will be out with that.
So this will be the biggest Bajaj Auto product till now, bigger than any of the KTM bikes, bigger than the Pulsars?
The biggest, the fastest, the sharpest, the smartest. Yeah, I think it will set a new benchmark.
In terms of strengthening measures to recover market share in the 125cc plus segment, how has that fared so far in Q1, and any more actions that we see?
Yeah, so I will be very candid in saying this, Parikshit, that on the one hand, I think we have done very good work as far as product is concerned. With as I just mentioned, ATMs. As you may be aware, in this month we have launched the new Triumph Thruxton. Soon the Triumph Tracker will come to market, if I am not wrong, by October or so. Great work's been done on the Chetak front, on the three-wheeler front, including the electric three-wheeler and the Riki, the e-rick. Having said that, we have also failed somewhere, and we should be, honest about that. And we have failed a little bit with the Pulsar. When you speak of the 125cc plus segment, I believe you are referring to our domestic motorcycle performance. And I think, Pulsar is a very, very strong brand. It's a, 15,000 crore brand for us annually. It's a brand that in the domestic market, even now, from 125 to 400cc clocks about 100,000 vehicles a month. So when the brand is fundamentally strong, the primary reason for it to lose some space, some traction in the marketplace, can only be that it's at the end of its life cycle, which is the case with the Pulsar. We need to see some new product in there, and I'm happy to share with you that starting October, that will happen in quite a significant way. And then every quarter, we have something exciting in the Pulsar brand for our customers. And I'm sure that, the little bit of share that we have lost, which we don't like at all, because Pulsar is really the mainstay of the company, especially in the domestic market. I'm sure it will come back quite quickly, because that's how, strong brands behave.
Mr. Bajaj, thank you very much for joining us on the program, giving us your overview of the industry right now, the tariff situation, and how Bajaj Auto is really rejigging its product lineup for the future.
Thank you, Parikshit.